Primary elections are the private playground of one faction or another at taxpayer expense. Primary elections reward, and we've seen this all too often, the most extreme views, and they have given us a system of partisan gridlock.
Former Democratic Attorney General Terry Goddard is a leader of the Make Elections Fair initiative, pushing for open primary elections in Arizona. Backers cite one more benefit: the growing number of independent voters will have a greater say in elections. Last week, Make Elections Fair filed more than 580,000 petition signatures to get on the November statewide ballot. That's 200,000 more than required. So the initiative could make it, but there likely will be some challenges. Political consultant Chuck Coughlin, for decades one of the leading power brokers at the Capitol, an advisor to Republican governors, is running the Open Primaries Initiative. Welcome back to Square Off.
Great to be here. Thanks, Bram.
To be clear, right now you are a registered independent?
I am.
You made that change a few years ago. You've pursued a change in how we elect our representatives for several years. Why do you think this change is needed?
Well, it's just a matter of fairness, like the initiative says. Why do we, do a primary where independent voters have to request one ballot or the other and are forced to vote a straight party ticket? And why is a candidate, now a third of the electorate is independent, why does a candidate have to collect 6 times as many signatures and then cannot even appear on the primary ballot that they're paying for? It doesn't make sense. It's not fair. So we want to fix that. We think lowering those barriers to participation will increase voter turnout and create better outcomes and better candidates, more competition.
So independent candidates would find it easier to get on the ballot. Independent voters would not have to request a primary ballot as they do now. You're opening it up to independent voters.
Yeah.
How do you know this will work?
Well, you don't.
Get the desired result.
Right. It's a matter. It's an economic principle, really. It's like an open market competition. It's free enterprise. It's what's created the strength of our democratic capitalism here in the country. I mean, 80% of legislative candidates and congressional candidates have really virtually no competition in a general election. They win their primary in a safe Republican or Democratic district, and then they go down to the legislature or to Congress, and that's their only customer. That's their only people they pay attention to, is those most conservative or most liberal voters. And we're putting all these people in the room saying, oh, solve our nation's biggest problems. It doesn't make sense.
Lawmakers, Republicans, have already referred a measure to the ballot that would ban what you're doing, put that in the Constitution, and ban it. Who wins if both are on the ballot and voters approve of both? Who wins?
The one with the most votes, and we intend to be that one with the most votes. You know, they are institutionalizing a question of the current system. They're putting that in the Constitution and saying you will have a closed primary. You will deny independents the right to participate as a candidate in a primary, and you will deny voters the opportunity just to pick whoever they want. I mean,
and just to remind folks, 1/3 of all registered voters in Arizona are Republicans, but they are independents, excuse me, but they don't vote in nearly the numbers equal to their registration.
Right. They vote 8 to 10% in a primary. They'll turn out in 28% to 30% in the general election. We think we can increase that participation by removing all these barriers. It can be, candidates. So somebody comes to me and says, hey, I want, you come to me and say, I want to run for office. You wouldn't do that, but, and I'd say, okay, what do you believe? And I could go test, I could go run a poll, find out what voters believe, and then I actually run a campaign to go turn all those voters out. I can't do that today because of the way we segregate. It's only Republicans that can vote in the election. It's primary voting Republicans. And so if you're not an election denier, you're going to lose a Republican primary.
If this initiative makes it to the ballot and wins, open primaries could be in place by 2026, but there's a catch. The legislature, where both Republicans and I believe Democrats oppose this. This would be a big shot at the party system. They would have to decide how to apply this in the general election. What's to stop them from just slow walking it, not doing anything?
Well, two things. We've written the rules into the Constitution what they can do. So they can advance up to 5 and as few as 2. And we don't really care what they do, because anything is better than the current system today, where there's less, 80% of people don't have any competition. So anything is better. And so they can do 2 to 5. And they can make those decisions. If it's 3 or more, they'll have to rank the ballot, because we want the candidate to be representative of a majority of the electorate. We don't want them representing a minority portion of the electorate. And to your question, if they don't do it, which we anticipated, they'd throw up their hands and have a fit, we said the Secretary of State shall do it by November 1, 2025, if they have to have a system in place, or the Secretary of State is ordered to do it.
All right. Got to end it there. Chuck Coughlin, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Bram. Thanks
Good
for
luck.
the opportunity. We will need that.